Bow! Okay, now I got that out of my system.
Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. Who is he? Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. And who is he? Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. And what he do? And he's gonna react to all the self-snitching.
Hi, this is Bruce Rivers. Welcome to another fun-filled episode of Criminal Lawyer Reacts. I'm Bruce Rivers, your very own personal board-certified criminal defense lawyer, coming to you today. And today we are reacting to K-Flock. But before we get to that, we're coming to you on this venue we call Criminal Lawyer Reacts, our YouTube channel that was created by my son, the former content genius, Michael Rivers, God rest his soul. And it's been around for several months. I'm not going to lie to you. I mean, it's been tough. But I will tell you this. You guys have just been amazing. People are sending me books. People are sending me cards. I got cards coming out my ass, which I read every one of them. And I don't respond to everybody, but I do read your cards, and they do make a difference. I mean, you even got everybody finds religion in jail. Thank you, whoever said that to me. I don't put stickers on my car, though, just so you know. I'll find a place for it. In fact, I keep everything that you guys send me, and we're going to put it on a shelf when we get our podcast studio going here very shortly. But, the thing about it is, you lose a child, it's very, very, very difficult. I mean, it's the hardest thing and the most depressing thing that's ever happened to me. But do I sit there and wallow in my beer? No, you can't. Why can't you? Because you have a daughter and you have a fiance and you got other people around you that you need to kind of be there for. So you can't just sit there and cry in your beer. Can you? No, you can't. So appreciate all the well wishes and, Oh, and by the way, if you go to CLRBruceRivers.com, we're going to have these new hats. What do you think of the new array of snapback stop self-snitching hats? Courtesy of our good loyal guy, Nick, who is a buddy of Michael's. And we got Robert Henry behind the camera right now. So we got some new staff, new energy, and just a lot of good things going on here at CLR, Bruce Rivers, Criminal Lawyer Reacts. Okay, so today we're going to react to K-Flock. K-Flock, as you know, was a Brooklyn rapper inspired by the Chicago drill scene. Drill is a type of really disrespectful shit called rap music. Not that rap music is called shit, but I mean, this stuff is really disrespectful stuff because, you're smoking on your ops, drop your shit, boy, that kind of stuff, just talking about people that they've killed and people that they're going to kill and flaunting this rap battle or the diss tracks back and forth. And all it does is really generate a culture of violence. And it's not like, sometimes they say about music, oh, it's just art, blah, blah, blah. I think that's true for a lot of, like in Drake's case. Drake isn't a fucking badass. Drake has got a lot of money, and he doesn't live on the street. But some of these guys are on the street, and they're going pop, 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 pop. So it's not art. It's really they're reporting. They're live to you from Drill City. Here is pop, 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 which is basically what they're doing. And I'm telling you, and who holds the bag? Aunties, grandmas, sisters. All the women hold the fucking bag. So if you're a strong black man in the community and you care about your community, just grab one guy. I'm doing a case in May where they've taken 45 guys off the fucking street. 45 young black men off the street and charged them all with Rico. And it's from murder to drugs to money laundering and all this other crap. So my point is, we got to stop it. We got to stop it somehow. And nobody's fucking talking about it. Do you hear anybody in the national media talking about the epidemic of young black men dying in the city? They're not. And they should be. And so if you're a strong man in the community, step up. Step up and grab that little fucker by the back of the neck and say, you're coming with me. You're going to go to work every day. You're going to be this guy. You're not going to be that guy. And I really, really implore you to do that. Okay, that's my speech for today. But let's talk about somebody who didn't do that, shall we?
And you can't walk a mile in my shoes. You ain't throw as much shots as I do. You don't talk on the Glock like I do. And you definitely
You know, why do you think I coined the term stop self-snitching? Because you see these guys talk about their fucking murders that they do in their videos. Like, our very first video was Murder on My Mind by Melly. Fucking idiot. Anyway, K-Flock broke through in 2021 when he dropped Being Honest, an emotional track showing a different side of the Bronx drill wave. The song caught fire, racking up millions of views. Before he knew it, K-Flock had a record deal with Capitol Records. I mean, I don't understand why these guys do this shit. I mean, you have a situation where you are making bank, but guess what happens when these guys from the hood make bank, or these gangsters, former gangsters, current gangsters, whatever kind of gangster they are? There's all kinds of people that are nipping at their heels. They don't just, make their money and move on. Some do, but a lot of them don't. And then so they're still sucked back into a deeper, darker place. He was rumored to be affiliated with the Sevside street gang, a set tied to SSM or sex, money, murder. When you're in trial and your gang is called sex, money, murder, hard to believe that you're not in part of a conspiracy. And DOA, dump on everything, factions of the Bloods. His music and social media activity made it clear that he was locked in a war with the Bronx rivals, which is just so stupid because, they're doing these RICO trials all over the country. Now, the one in Atlanta kind of fizzled out, didn't it? So that was Young Thug, if you recall. And where is he now? He's at home. He didn't get the fucking electric chair. He didn't get the life in prison that it was all billed out to be. The prosecutors really fucked that case up. And his lawyers really did a great job. This drill music scene, though, isn't just music. It's communication. It really is what it is. It's a direct reflection of what's happening on the streets. The diss tracks create battlefields, referencing dead friends and real threats. When they put this stuff online, they're self-snitching. And then the feds are mining this social media stuff, and they're using it. There's been a big controversy about using rap lyrics. They used that in the Young Thug trial. So, but in K-Flock's videos, he taunts his rivals by name, flashing gang signs, and referencing shootings alleged. When they do this, they're just taunting the other side. Fucking stop it. I went down to the Bahamas, and these guys recognized me from the channel. And these are bigger, older black guys, really big guys. And he puts his arm around me and goes, "Man, I like what you're saying. Nobody's talking about this shit. Young black men are fucking dying at record levels. Everybody's fucking packing heat. You think I'm going to go down to the Monte Carlo at midnight or 1 o'clock in downtown Minneapolis? Why wouldn't I go down there? Because pop, 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 pop. And there's too many people that aren't really recognizing, if I carry this today, what happens to me tomorrow? They're life-changing decisions. So K-Flock, in his videos, he taunted rivals, and that is just stupid. Okay, you want to fuck with me? Where is Fulio? Where's Fulio? Is he going to make any more music? Not a fucking chance. K-Flock was well known for his lives where he would frequently drive through enemy neighborhoods looking for fucking trouble.
Nigga said at 5 a.m. shaking my head. All right? At 5 a.m., your man was outside, and you know what happened. End of the story. It don't matter what time it was. No, fuck it. Hold on. No. It don't matter if it was 5. At least we didn't come for no reason. We came for a reason because your man was outside at 5, and you know what happened. Like it. Word of bro, nigga.
This is known as spinning. Why would you do that? So let's just take a look at him spinning his arms.
Right there. It was so. Move back a little bit. They don't want to come out.
Generally speaking, if you have to cover your face and put sunglasses on, put a hoodie on, and you're trying to disguise your appearance, you're not going to disguise your car. They're going to know whose fucking car it is. They know who you are. But if you don't put it on the internet, it didn't happen, right?
What you doing, Bob? You see me going up, bro. What the fuck? This shit I be talking about.
Nigga, this my shit. They know what I do. Bro, day, bitch, I'm trying to spin.
They know what I do. They know what I do. I mean, what the fuck? Where are you now? You're in Metro. You're in Brooklyn. I don't know where I don't know where they're housing him right now. But he's in jail. Awaiting trial. Or actually in trial now.
Look how comfortable I am on the vlog. Them niggas all in there. Them niggas is pussy.
You know what's pussy? You know what's really pussy? Not doing things the right way. Doing shit like this is pussy. Being you ever see the Bronx Tale where Robert De Niro says the working man is the real hero? There's some fucking truth to that. Who wants to have a shitty job, and go to work every day and, sure, it'd be great to just party and fuck around all the time. Taking care of your own, making sure your daughter's got, tuition in the bank, making sure that, your kids have a warm bed and a place to sleep and somebody who gives a shit about them, that's where the real hero is.
Don't run. We out.
Don't make that sound. That sound gets
We out.
not fair, bro, yo.
I'm on the block. Word to my soul. Shut up. Let me say something.
Say something.
Word to my mother. Word to Blake Grave. They come to my block. To my cake. Tony Parker pop out. Word to my son Blake and my son Goon Grave. I'll make a fucking movie.
A
fucking movie.
Okay, that's really cool and everything. It lacks a certain, je ne sais quoi. I mean, if you're making real money, which he probably was, what are you doing on the street? Well, you're on the street because you think you're a thug. You think you're a gangster. You think you're all that in a bag of, 9mm shell casings. K-Flox is You Ready has reached 90 million views and cemented him as a serious player in the drill scene. Most notably, D-Thang's track, Talk Facts, which samples Gautier's Somebody That You Used to Know, which is reminiscent of a song of Who I Smoke. Remember Who I Smoke? We did a reaction to that. When that was a cold reaction that Michael brought to the table.
You could walk 1,000 miles and I still don't want to see you. I got the whole city scared. These niggas know what we...
I have to say, I like everything about this video. I really do like this a lot. The guys look like they could be in a fraternity. They look wholesome. But Who I Smoke? Well, we know from all of our prior videos what smoking somebody up means. But I had no clue as to what a diss track was at the time. I had no clue as to what drill was or what an op was. I was so naive, and Michael really educated me on that stuff. And then I did Fulio's When I See You. And that's when I really realized what these songs are about. They're about, killing people and look out because you're going to get killed next. They're warnings, but they're really warning to their ops. We're coming for you. We're not scared of you. And where does it fucking end? You killed my buddy. I'm going to kill you. I got a Rico case right now where my client is alleged to have popped one of his ops. And it's all on video. It's such a waste of human life. So let's take a look at K-Flox's case. This shit just kills me. So one of the court documents, on November 10th, 2021, Perez ordered other Sevside DOA members to travel with him to RPT territory to spin RPT. Perez and others, including Sevside DOA members Devon Mason and Irvin Beeman, then traveled to RPT territory in a BMW. When they arrived at the rival gang's building, Beeman stood up through the sunroof of the vehicle and began shooting at the group of men standing on the sidewalk outside of the building, Fortunately, missing their fucking targets. Perez and others then drove back to the Southside DOA headquarters. Stupid. So he has passed charges. At 15, he was charged with third-degree robbery and received a 1-year probation. At 18, he was arrested for having an illegal firearm, but the case was never adjudicated, thus no charges were ever filed. So if you are a felon, you cannot own a firearm. If you have been convicted of domestic violence, guess what? You cannot possess a firearm. Holding a firearm is a 5-year mandatory minimum sentence in most jurisdictions and federally. A month later, he was arrested for allegedly shooting and killing 24-year-old Oscar Hernandez, also known as Ayahuasca, a member of the Oi gang. Surveillance footage captured K-Flock in op territory. Outside of the barbershop, he yells to someone. Witnesses say he was asking for people for Oi. Oi left the barbershop when he was where an argument ensued. K-Flock allegedly shot and killed Hernandez outside the Harlem barbershop. Hernandez was shot in the back and in the neck. Kind of pussy move, actually. Prosecutors claim it was gang-related hit. His defense team argues it was self-defense. But even stand your ground law, your election to stand your ground has to be a reasonable one. K-Flock was on FaceTime a call minutes before the shooting, showing a gun in op territory. That's called self-snitching. You know, as a lawyer, we hate shit like this because it's like, fuck, there's nothing we can do. But then, what is common in every New York street? Cameras. There's cameras everywhere. So we're going to watch. So this is him walking on the street. Now, take a look at the jeans. We're going to get back to that in a minute. But one of the things that whenever there's video, even if your face is covered, there's other things that they'll magnify, that they'll analyze, and they can even tell you your shoe size. So he's got his hand on his gun right there. You can see it. You can't see the gun, but you can see from the prior video. And you don't think they're going to link that up in trial? So he gets shot. So now check this out. You're walking on the street. You got a white patch with identifiable geometric pattern, and then you got some designs on the left leg. Tell me those aren't the most fucking identifiable jeans on the planet. He bought those like an hour beforehand and paid $1,000 for those jeans. There's no question that that's him. So the shooting was caught on camera, showing that the shooter dressed in a Moncler and Amiri jeans. That's what I was just saying. And this honestly will bite him in the ass. I mean, there's no defense that this wasn't me. So a week after the shooting, K-Flock turned himself in along with his lawyer to the New York NYPD Crime Stoppers after they posted his wanted poster and photos of K-Flock all over the fucking place. And he was arrested for second-degree murder. So let's take a little listen to his lawyer and see what his lawyer's take is on it.
The guy hits the ground and is found. He's got a loaded gun that was in his pocket that his hand was on at the time. You know, we consider that to be self-defense.
So he did shoot him in self-defense.
That's what the allegation is. You know, I don't want to talk too much about the details of the case,
Okay.
but the government claims that he pulled the gun out and shot him. But at the same time, the person that was dead on the ground had his hand on a loaded weapon, illegal loaded weapon, apparently.
That's a good fact for K-Flock.
Apparently about to shoot Kevin.
Okay. So without saying too much, you're arguing obviously self-defense. That's the crux.
You know,
of the case.
that could be one of the arguments, self-defense.
He doesn't really want to commit in this article because if he has any plausible that wasn't me, he wants to keep that available. But you can't have a self-defense and say it wasn't me. I mean, you can say, yeah, I fucking shot him, and, you know, I did it because my life was threatened.
Self-defense, and I would say to the public, you know, somebody's walking up to you with a loaded gun and it's pretty clear he's going to use it with a criminal record a mile long. Do you want to get shot or do you not want to get shot?
Oh, absolutely. I wouldn't hesitate to pull the trigger.
Bullshit. You wouldn't hesitate to pull the trigger? Do you know what it's like to pull the trigger on a human being? Just when you think things couldn't get any worse for Mr. K-Flock, in 2023, the Sevside Associates, the feds hit those guys with a RICO indictment. This is the same type of federal charge that took down 6ix9ine's Trey Bloods and Young Thug's YSL crew. Same type of thing. Thing that I'm fighting. I'm going to trial in May on a RICO case here. If convicted, K-Flock could face a life sentence. But they're going to have to link it up. So, you know, a lot of people say innocent until proven guilty. Of course. They're going to have to link it up. But here's the thing. You can't claim self-defense if you start the affray. Period. End of story. So a judge isn't going to give you the self-defense instruction, which is critical to winning a self-defense case. You don't have it, you don't have self-defense. So in this particular case, one could argue that, you know, let's say there's no one to testify that he yelled "Oi," you know, and try to lure his guy out there. Let's say he was just walking by the barbershop and the guy came out, the op came out, and the op was going to go for his gun. Well, you can either run or you can fight. And, you know, and you only run if it's reasonable to do so. Let me ask you this. What would a police officer do? Would a police officer put his back to somebody who's got a gun? Probably not. He'd probably return fire. Probably seek cover, return fire. And that's what that would be a reasonable thing for a cop to do. If it's reasonable for a cop to do it, wouldn't it be reasonable for your average Joe to do it? So if the guy comes, and I'm just positing a scenario here, and so don't light me up about being wrong on this, but if the guy coming out of the barbershop had a beef with the guy that's on the sidewalk, K-Flock, and he pulls his gun, or K-Flock reasonably believed he was going to pull his gun and pulled the gun first, that would be kind of self-defense, wouldn't it? You know, that's the argument here. Kevin Perez, also known as K-Flock, was found guilty this week. He was found guilty of, it's really crazy because he was found not guilty of murder, but he was found guilty of using a weapon in furtherance, using a weapon causing the death in furtherance of a conspiracy. To racketeering conspiracy. What is conspiracy? Let's start there. Can you have a conspiracy if you're just acting alone? No, you can't. Because by its nature, a conspiracy is an agreement between two or more people and then an act in furtherance of that conspiracy, right? So let's say you and I decide to kill Nick's parents because they are just the rottenest people, you know? Well, okay, so we have an agreement to do that. And then we go to his house, we get up to the door, and I back out. So is there a conspiracy? Is a conspiracy been completed? Yeah. So you have two people agreeing to do something, and then we drove there, went up to the door. That's an act in furtherance of the conspiracy. You might as well fucking shoot him now. I mean, no, you shouldn't shoot him now. I'm not advocating that. But what I'm telling you is it's not hard to prove a conspiracy. You don't really need much for an act in furtherance of the conspiracy. So I'm going to do a little cold reaction to some of his music. And I have to confess, I don't know shit about K-Flock's music. I know Michael would have known everything about it. Brr, bow, brr, bow, brr, bow. I think that's, you know, the imitating a gun, I think. Bow, bow. You know, and here's the thing. They like to use rap lyrics, rap songs, especially drill, because drill is more factual. Now, I'm not following all the lyrics. Usually I have the lyrics written here, so when I react to them, I know exactly what they're saying. But the thing about it is, he's sitting there pointing the gun, the fake gun in his finger, which is better. That's better than a prop gun or a real gun, especially if you have a felony record, because if you have a felony record, guess what? You don't have the right to own a firearm. Bow. Okay, now I got that out of my system. Now he hasn't been sentenced yet, so he was just found guilty. K-Flock's friend Vance Brockington testified last week that K-Flock called him while he was in the hospital after he got shot, but his sister, Laquana Brockington, testified today that her brother is lying on K-Flock. In other words, he's saying he's trying to be a snitch. This is his buddy in his own camp. The defense's first witness is the cooperator's sister. State your name, Laquana Brockington. Why are you here? I saw an inner city press, that my brother said KK Flock called and said, I got you, bro. But I know he's lying. I was there. Defense. Let me show you Defense Exhibit 1. It's a photograph of Brockington in the hospital, both hands bandaged and lifted up on wires, tubes taped to his mouth. Laquana Brockington, that's him. That's how he was. He couldn't have taken a call on FaceTime. The only way I knew that he was alive was by body movements and the monitor. I can't just let him lie and put a man away in jail for a long time. And then on Cross, you read about this case, yes. You read about it on Instagram. I read about it in Inner City Press. It was like it was said in the courtroom, like a conversation. But you liked social media posts about it. I did. And you were trying to distance yourself from your brother? No, I just don't think lying is right. You always lived in Sevside, 187, Bathgate? No, I was like more Hoffman. It's not even on your map. Do you know this person? And it shows a picture. He's a rapper. We are different generations, but I know he's a rapper from our neighborhood. And he's the nephew of the man you dated, isn't he? And you didn't call the police on the man that you're dating, and he say he pulled a knife on you. Objection, overruled. You didn't call the police on the man that you were dating and say he pulled a knife on you. Supposedly, she says. Are you a resident of Sevside? When I grew up, I was 187th. I just heard it was Sevside. The other neighborhoods have names, right? Yes, B Road is Boston Road. HP is Hunts Point. After you got shot, who called you into the hospital? KK, he said. We got you, bro. KK is the defendant? Yes. He was going to retaliate against who shot me. So you have a situation where, you got his own buddy testifying against him. Why would he do this? There's only two reasons to testify against somebody. Number one, you're on the hook for it yourself. And if they have an agreement between the two of them, he's going to go do this thing for him, then he's on the hook. And so if he testifies against K-Flock, then he gets cooperation assistance for that. Let's see what K-Flock's lawyer had to say.
I'll work with you, bro. Okay. You got nothing to worry about. Hey, Rod.
What's going on?
Hey, we got good and bad news. Good news, we got your payment, buddy. Bad news, they gave you life.
What the fuck?
Sayonara.
What the fuck is that? That's not really his lawyer. No. What the fuck is wrong with you? So the reactions out there are myriad. Some people think this is a good thing, but some people don't like the fact that somebody's being snitched on by a buddy of his. Linton PSD, whoever that is. K-Flock being 20 and getting ratted on by the 30-year-old who helped put him onto the streets is fucking crazy. A lot of people don't like snitches. I don't like snitches, especially when you do it to yourself. What are the old saying? Snitches get stitches and sometimes wind up in ditches. I don't represent snitches. I just don't. K-Flock is facing life in prison for his RICO charges nonetheless, but I don't think it's a mandatory life. His murder charge of Hernandez was found to be self-defense. All in all, K-Flock has been found guilty of racketeering, conspiracy, use of a firearm, resulting in the death, attempted murder, and assault with a dangerous weapon in aid of racketeering, and use of a firearm for attempted murder and assault with a dangerous weapon. He was acquitted on one charge of murder in aid of racketeering in connection with the 2021 killing of Huáscar Hernandez. Now, this is what they had to prove on the murder case. To prove murder in aid of racketeering, the government must prove, number one, that the criminal organization exists and is a racketeering enterprise. Number two, the defendant committed, attempted, or conspired to commit a violent crime. And three, the defendant acted to promote their position within or gain entrance into the racketeering enterprise. That's an element that's not necessarily in the other counts. If he was doing it to just get revenge and not necessarily doing it, to further himself in the organization, I can see how he would be acquitted of that charge because the other charges aren't quite as severe. Now, the U.S. attorney came out with a statement, and I'm going to read, and then the defense has got a statement too, so we'll read them both. Kevin Perez, K-Flock, was the leader of a neighborhood street gang known as the Sevside, DOA. And with that gang, he committed a series of gang-motivated shootings. Perez, a drill rapper, instilled fear across the community with his violent actions, and then threatened rivals, bragged about shootings, and taunted victims in his rap lyrics. But as a unanimous jury is now found, Perez can no longer hide behind his music, and instead will be held to account for his violent crimes. Thanks for the hard work to the career prosecutors of this office and our law enforcement partners. The cycle of violence that Perez engaged in is over. This office, and mind you, he's been in jail for 4 years while his case is pending. This office remains resolute in its commitment to the prosecuting gang members who sow fear and spread violence in our city streets. So that's that. Now keep in mind, he has not been sentenced. When you have somebody that hasn't been sentenced, you want them to keep their fucking mouth shut. Why? Because guess what? These words get shoved up your ass at sentencing. So he says, I beat the top count, all caps. K-Flock wrote in his cases verse, I made the judge cry. That's going to be a good one to hear how the judge responds to that. He said now he cannot be forced to give me life. Allah Hamadullah. Everything good and not good. Everything bad but not bad. Just got to stay humble till the outcome of your situation and see what Allah got for you. Chin up, chest out. Say, ain't over. Nowhere near. Remain AG and stay sucker free. Remain all good, I suppose. Never fold, never will. Free the thoroughbred ones. Kill all rats, whatever that means. I mean, that sounds like a threat. Kill all rats? That sounds like a threat against his buddy. Doesn't that sound like that? And why the fuck would you put this out when you haven't been sentenced yet? You were acquitted of the murder charge. But, here's the thing. One of the things that they do in racketeering cases, there's acts in furtherance of the conspiracy. Overt acts is what they call them. And this isn't the only case. The one that he was acquitted of. That's not the only one where they talk about using a firearm, killing somebody, and the like. So the judge heard a ton of evidence. A ton of evidence about not just, that particular day. I'm assuming it's going to be violent acts using firearms and other acts of violence. And probably drugs, too. Although I don't think there was any drug conspiracy in this. It's just murder and attempted murder. So it's just all this, this drill shit. Shit. After the jury said it could not reach unanimity on one charge, they returned with mostly, but not all, guilty verdicts. So he's going to be sentenced on July 16th. When the verdict came, the courtroom was so full, the press had to stand up. One side was full of law enforcement, jackets emblazed, HSI police, violent gang unit. During the first count, a woman shouted out, and then was silenced. You know, when you're sitting in a fucking courtroom, you got to be quiet. You know, that's one of the first things the judge says, especially in federal court. He says, we're not going to tolerate any outbursts, either for the verdict or against the verdict. I don't care who you are. If you're law enforcement, if you're this person, I don't care what side of the aisle you're on. You know, and it is like aisles, you know, like a wedding. You know, you have the bride's side and the groom's side. Well, in this case, you've got the guest of honor side and you got the law enforcement side. After the verdicts, K-Flock was taken back to the holding cell amid farewells, be-strongs from supporters. Defense motions for acquittal, notwithstanding the verdict, are due in 2 weeks. So that's one of the things that'll happen is, you know, they file what's called a Rule 29 motion, a judgment notwithstanding the verdict, and probably a motion for a new trial because they'll try to point out some other things that went wrong with it. So that was from the Inner City Press that I just read you that. Let's see what else the Inner City Press has to say.
Okay, here we are, Matthew Russell Lee, Inner City Press, here at the Southern District of New York Courthouse. Today, Friday, March 21st, 2025. Now, 2 trials came to an end yesterday here in the SDNY, and we'll do those first. The first one was U.S. versus Kevin Perez, K-Flock, drill rapper. It took 2 days of jury deliberation, and
2 days of jury's deliberation in a federal trial is a long time. And you say what you want about the jury system. My experience has been that the juries really do take it seriously.
The question that the jury had, and they asked it twice, was what is a reasonable person? This was in connection with the shooting, death of Huáscar Hernandez on 150.
So that is a direct relation to a self-defense. It's what would a reasonable person do under the circumstances? That's where that question comes from.
151st and Amsterdam Avenue. He came out, Huáscar did, he came out of the barber shop, he put his hand into his coat, and next thing he was dead. Now the question was it reasonable for Kevin Perez K-Flock to feel that he was under threat? And apparently the jury agreed, because when the verdict was finally announced yesterday afternoon, he was convicted on the other charges. Count 2, though, he was not found not guilty. And there was a part of count 1 that was connected to the racketeering charges. Racketeering, yes, in connection with unemployment fraud, and in connection with 2 other shootings that they were non-deadly, but not in connection with that of Huáscar Hernandez. So people have been asking what online, what's happening next. 2 weeks after the verdict, which was yesterday, so in 13 days, do our post-trial motions. Those are ones in which his lawyer will say he should be acquitted. I don't know. For example, he might say because the racketeering wasn't shown, interstate effect on interstate commerce. He could do these motions are almost always filed. Often he'll get an.
These are always filed, but they are almost never successful. It's just pro forma. It's kind of malpractice if you don't do it.
An extension to file them, and then in July, the sentencing, and 2 weeks before the defense will put in its memo asking for how long he should get. There's guidelines.
K-Flock will meet with probation and with his lawyer, and probation will draft what's called a pre-sentence report. You get the preliminary report, you look at it, and if you have any objections to it, then you can either work those out with probation or you can lodge your objection and they note them. And then both the government and the defense file what's called a position pleading. It's basically what's your position with regard to the sentencing factors. And there's a whole host of things that go into that.
And there's minimums involved, so there's only so much discretion the judge will have. And I can't say that I think that Judge Lyman will be particularly solicitous of the defense request. And then the government puts it in a week before, and then there's the sentencing, and we'll be covering it. Okay, so
that's actually kind of helpful because I wasn't there to watch the trial. And you know what? You don't get a video in the courtroom on something like that. So that's actually really helpful. So you are ugly as fuck. A lot of dumb fellas thought he was going to get out. Nobody thought he was going to get out. And if you did think he was going to get out, I don't know what you're smoking, but K-Flock's not smoking any of it. Once he uses self-defense as a strategy, that was automatically admitting to an illegal gun, which by itself carries 15 years. These kids didn't know the law. Well, he didn't have a choice but to use self-defense because, I mean, you You couldn't say I was in Detroit because that was him. Okay, from New York State of Mind. Just saying, folks, FaceTimed his ops, showed the pole, gun, showed off his outfit, spun the block, caught a M, had 4 witnesses on the stand and CCTV against him, and still beat the body charge. Nevertheless, he still's cooked. Cooked though on God. And then from Shandon, Rico Charges is so scary because K-Flock was found not guilty for the murder, but guilty of the gang activity. So if it wasn't in a gang, he would be coming home. That's probably true to a large extent. Let's see, Daquan Wiltshire, DSG. K-Flock found guilty. Yelabeezy charged with capital murder. Lil Durk currently fighting a murder for hire charge. Plenty of other rappers are dead, facing charges, doing time, or walking the streets with their head on a swivel. These are just rappers. People who did what most who come from their environment couldn't, and they still managed to fall victim to it. I promise the streets are not worth it. Well put. And that's what I've been trying to preach to all you young men out there who happen to be very enamored with the pole, with the ops, with drill, with killing, with doing murder for hire, or murder just for the sake of killing somebody. And in the prophetic words of Nipsey Hussle, remember him and what happened to him? Burning rubber, wearing cameras, they was undercovers. Under pressure, made statements, turned on their brothers. Never judge you, but the streets will never love you. Ain't that the truth? So if you're enamored with the street life, with the pop, 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 with the brrrr, the murderous nature of drill, stop. Just stop and get a job. You know, live to tomorrow, you know? Don't be that guy. Because guess what? K-Flock has a following. And he better not pick up the soap because he's going to a place where, you know, he's going to be pretty. You know? I mean, what the fuck? All of that for nothing. To wipe away everything he's accomplished. And it ain't going to be fun. And then he puts out this stupid statement that is not going to go well with the judge. The judge, you made me cry? Are you fucking out of your happy-ass mind? See you later. And you know what? Federal judges give out time like it's candy. They don't give a shit. Here's 10, 20, 30, 40 years. Here's life. Bye. They don't give a shit. They don't give one rat's ass. So, we'll see you next time here on Criminal Lawyer Reacts. I'm Bruce Rivers, your board-certified criminal defense lawyer. May you share, you subscribe, follow us on Instagram, follow us on Twitter, sign up for Patreon, sign up for Facebook, and look for these new designs and some other new stuff on clrbrucerivers.com. And so here's the other thing we're doing. We're going to offer for the 500th person that signs up for Facebook or subscribes to us on Facebook, we'll get a free hat. The next 20 people to sign up for Patreon will get a free hat. We'll see you next time on Criminal Lawyer Reacts.
Bruce Rivers just broke down your case. He know all the charges that you about to face. You ain't coming home till 2058.